My name is Alara Vaughn, and before anyone ever called me a writer, my family called me something else. A quitter. They didn't whisper it. They didn't argue about it. They announced it like a diagnosis they were proud of reaching together. It happened at my aunt's dining table, the kind polished so often it reflected everyone's faces back at them. Sharp, distorted, unflattering. Sunday dinner. Roast chicken drying under heat lamps. Glasses clinking. Laughter that stopped the second I opened my mouth. "So," my mother said, not looking at me, carving into the meat. "What is it this time?" I blinked. "What?" My older brother leaned back in his chair, smirking. "What she means is, what are you pretending to be now?" "I'm not pretending," I said. "I'm working on—" My uncle cut in immediately. "Here we go." My chest tightened. I didn't even finish the sentence. "You never do," he said, smiling like it was affectionate. "That's the problem." My father cleared his throat. "Alara, no one's attacking you. We're just concerned." Concerned. That word. The weapon they always used before swinging harder. "I've been writing every day," I said. "I'm close to finishing something that actually—" My mother laughed. Not a chuckle. A full, dismissive laugh. "You said that about the podcast. You said that about the blog. You said that about the course. You said that about the screenplay." Each sentence landed like a slap. My cousin added, "Remember the online shop?" Another voice chimed in. "She shut that down in 2 months." Someone else. 3 weeks. I felt my face burn. Those weren't failures. They were experiments? My brother interrupted. "No, Ilara. They were quits." The word hit the table like a gavel. I looked around, waiting for someone, anyone, to soften it. No one did. Forks paused mid-air. Everyone watched me like this was entertainment. "I'm not asking for money," I said. "I'm not asking for validation. I'm just saying I'm close to finishing something that matters to me." My father finally looked at me then. His expression wasn't cruel. It was worse. It was tired. "You always say that," he said. "And then you disappear. And then you come back with another excuse." "I don't disappear," I snapped. "I work." "Work on what?" my mother asked. "Ghost projects?" That got laughter. Real laughter. My throat tightened so hard I tasted metal. "I just wish," my aunt said gently, like she was offering a gift, "you'd stop embarrassing yourself by announcing things you won't finish." That sentence cracked something open in me. "I didn't announce this," I said quietly. "You asked." My brother leaned forward. "We're your family. If we can't be honest with you, who will?" "Honest." "Okay," I said. "Here's honesty. I've finished more than you think. You just stop paying attention when it doesn't fit the story you like telling about me." Silence. Then my uncle laughed again. "Listen to her," he said. "Always the victim." My mother shook her head. "Ilara, you're smart. You're creative. But discipline? Follow through? That's just not you." My father nodded slowly. "Some people are starters. Some are finishers. You're a starter." There it was. The final verdict. Spoken calmly, decided unanimously. I felt something in me go very still. "So that's it?" I asked. "That's who I am?" My mother shrugged. "We're just saying. Don't get your hopes up." I pushed my chair back. It scraped loudly against the floor. "I didn't ask you to believe in me," I said. My voice didn't shake. That surprised me. "I asked you to stop rewriting my life like it's a joke you all agreed on." My brother scoffed. "Relax. No one's stopping you. Just don't be dramatic when it doesn't work out." I looked at each of them, one by one, the faces that raised me, the voices I had tried to impress for years. "Fine," I said. That got their attention. I'm done explaining, I continued. No updates, no previews, no defenses. My father frowned. Ilara, no, I said. You've already decided who I am. I'm just going to let you be right. I grabbed my coat. As I walked toward the door, my mother called after me. Don't quit this family too. I paused, just for a second. I don't quit, I said without turning around. I just stopped performing. Then I left. That was the night I learned something important. Not about writing, not about discipline, about silence, and how loud it gets when it finally finishes speaking. I didn't announce my silence. I didn't send a message saying I'm cutting you off. I didn't storm out of group chats or unfollow anyone dramatically. I just stopped offering myself up for review. And they noticed. At first, they treated it like another phase. My phone stayed quiet for weeks. Then my mother called. Are you okay? She asked, too carefully. I'm fine. You've been very distant. I've been busy. With what? There it was. The question that always came with an expectation of failure baked into it. I'm working, I said. A pause. Then a sigh. Ilara, you don't have to pretend. I'm not pretending. All right, she said, voice cool now. Just checking in. She hung up before I could say anything else. The next time I heard my name, it wasn't from them directly. It was at a coffee shop near my apartment. I was standing in line, laptop bag digging into my shoulder, when I heard my cousin's voice behind me. She's probably unemployed again, she said casually. You know how she is. I turned slowly. She froze when she saw me. Oh. Hey, I said. Awkward silence. So? She tried. What are you up to these days? I smiled. It felt sharp. Finishing something. Her eyebrows lifted. What kind of something? I shrugged. You wouldn't be interested. She laughed, relieved. Probably not. That night, I wrote for 6 hours straight. Not inspired. Not romantic. Angry. I wrote in the mornings before work. I wrote at night until my eyes burned. I wrote on the bus, in laundromats, in waiting rooms. I wrote scenes that made my hands shake and dialogue that sounded like arguments I'd never be allowed to win out loud. Rejections came quickly. This isn't right for our list. The voice is strong, but the market is unclear. Have you considered softening the tone? Softening. I deleted those emails without replying. Money got tight. I canceled plans I couldn't afford. When my brother texted asking if I wanted to come to a birthday dinner, I said I couldn't make it. He replied, Knew it. Busy quitting something else? I didn't respond. Weeks passed. Then months. I heard about myself through other people. She's isolating. She's lost again. She's probably embarrassed. My aunt told my mother I needed help. My mother told my father I was being stubborn. My father told anyone who would listen that I'd come around once I failed properly. No one asked what I was building. They didn't notice the way my life narrowed into a single point of focus, the way I stopped consuming anything that wasn't necessary, the way my apartment filled with handwritten pages and marked up drafts and coffee cups stacked like evidence. There were nights I stared at the screen convinced they were right, that I was just repeating a pattern, that quitting was coming. When that thought got loud, I'd open the document and scroll to the bottom, the unfinished end. And I'd keep going out of spite. Halfway through, my mother showed up unannounced. She stood in my doorway, eyes scanning the mess. This doesn't look healthy? I didn't ask, I said. She picked up a stack of pages. Is this another one of your things? I took them from her hand. Don't. Ilara, you've been quiet for months. That's usually when you're avoiding something. I met her gaze. Or finishing it. She studied my face like she was trying to recognize a stranger. Well, she said finally, Don't disappear when it falls apart. She left without saying goodbye. I locked the door and slid down against it. Then I stood up. Then I wrote. The night I typed the final sentence, it was 2:14 a.m. No music. No ceremony. Just me, staring at the last line, waiting for relief that didn't come. Instead, I felt something heavier. Fear. Because for the first time, quitting wasn't an option anymore. I printed the manuscript and stacked it neatly on my desk. I didn't tell anyone. I just stared at it and whispered, "You don't get to call me that anymore." Then I started revising. Silence makes people nervous, especially people who are used to narrating your life for you. By the time I finished the third revision, my family had decided my quiet meant collapse. They didn't ask. They concluded. The invitation came through my brother. A single text. Dad wants everyone together. No punctuation. No warmth. A summons. I almost didn't go. Not out of fear. Out of exhaustion. But something in me wanted to see how far they'd go when they thought I was empty-handed. So I showed up. Same house. Same living room. Same seating arrangement that always put me at the edge of the couch like a removable piece. My father didn't waste time. "Ilara," he said, folding his hands, "we need to talk about your future." I sat down. "Okay." My mother jumped in immediately. "You've been off the grid." "I've been working." She flinched like I'd said a dirty word. "On what?" my aunt asked. I smiled. "Something I intend to finish." My uncle snorted. "There she goes again." My brother leaned forward. "Look, no one's trying to be mean, but you can't keep doing this to yourself." "Doing what?" "Chasing things that never land." My father nodded. "We think you should consider something stable, something realistic." There it was. The word they loved most. "Like what?" I asked. My mother hesitated, then said it anyway. "Maybe therapy." The room went quiet. "Therapy?" I repeated. "You get obsessed," she said gently. "You shut everyone out. Then you crash." "I didn't crash," I said. "I finished." My aunt laughed. "Finished what, Ilara?" I looked at her. Really looked. "You wouldn't recognize it if I told you." My uncle shook his head. "That's exactly the attitude that keeps you stuck." My brother added, "Have you thought about, you know, having a backup plan?" I raised an eyebrow. "A backup to what?" He shrugged. "Marriage, a job, something that doesn't disappear." I felt something twist in my stomach. "Did you just suggest I replace ambition with a husband?" My father held up a hand. "No one is saying that." "You just did," I said, looking at my brother. Out loud. He scoffed. "You're being dramatic." My mother sighed. "Ilara, please. We're worried you'll wake up at 40 with nothing to show for all this." I leaned back. Calm. Too calm. "You mean nothing you can see?" My father's voice hardened. "This secrecy is part of the problem." "No," I said. "It's the solution." They all looked at me then. "I used to tell you everything," I continued. "Every idea. Every start. And you used it as evidence against me." My aunt crossed her arms. "We just want you to stop failing." I smiled. It wasn't friendly. "You only call it failure because you don't get to decide when it ends." The room went still. My uncle laughed to break the tension. "All right. Let's say you actually finished something. Where is it?" I stood. "You'll see it when everyone else does." My father stood too. "That's not how family works?" "No," I said. "That's how permission works. And I'm done asking." My mother's voice cracked. "Why are you shutting us out?" I grabbed my coat. "Because you don't listen when I let you in." As I reached the door, my brother said, "When this falls apart, don't expect us to clap." I turned back. It's already standing, I said. You just weren't invited to watch it being built. I left them staring at each other. That night, I signed the contract. Alone. At my kitchen table. Hands steady. No champagne. No announcement. No group text. Just my name on the line where it belonged, and a future they still thought didn't exist. The contract didn't change my life overnight. It changed my posture. I stopped flinching when my phone rang. I stopped explaining pauses in conversation. I stopped feeling the need to justify why my time was suddenly expensive. I told no one. Not my mother. Not my brother. Not the aunt who liked to diagnose me across dinner tables. I watched the process unfold in silence, like a secret trial only I was allowed to attend. Emails replaced doubt. Cover concepts attached. Edits due by Friday. Distribution confirmed. Distribution. That word followed me around for days. I'd hear my family's voices in my head. Nationwide is unrealistic. Be practical. Don't get your hopes up. And then I'd open another email proving them wrong again. I approved the cover alone, sitting on my bed with my laptop balanced on my knees. My name was printed across it in clean, unapologetic letters. I stared at it longer than I should have, not because I was proud, because it felt dangerous. I didn't go to a launch party. There wasn't one. No clinking glasses, no speeches, just a quiet release date buried inside a calendar notification. The night before it went live, my mother texted me, "Haven't heard from you in a while. Everything okay?" I stared at the message. Then I turned my phone face down and went back to work. The book went live at 12:01 a.m. I didn't refresh the page obsessively. I didn't watch the numbers climb. I slept for 4 hours, woke up before dawn and went for a walk while the city was still half asleep. There was a bookstore 3 blocks from my apartment. I'd passed it 100 times without going in. That morning, I stopped. The bell chimed softly when I opened the door. I walked straight to the front table, and there it was. Not hidden, not tucked away, facing outward. My name, my title, stacked neatly like it had always belonged there. I didn't touch it at first. I stood there, breathing slowly, making sure I wasn't imagining it. A woman beside me picked up a copy, flipped through it, nodded to herself. "Looks intense," she said. I swallowed. "It is." She smiled and carried it to the register. I left without buying one. Seeing it was enough. By noon, it was online everywhere. By evening, it was in cities I'd never been to. My family still didn't know. That night, we had dinner together. A birthday, my cousin's. I showed up on time, dressed simply. Nothing about me announcing anything new. They talked over me like usual. My uncle complained about work. My brother scrolled his phone. My mother asked if anyone wanted dessert. "So, Alara," my aunt said suddenly, "still working on your little projects?" I met her eyes. "Yes." She smiled. "Try not to burn out." I nodded. "I won't." My phone buzzed in my pocket. I didn't check it. Later that night, alone in my apartment, I opened the first printed copy that had arrived earlier that day. I flipped past the cover, past the title page, and stopped at the dedication. I had written it weeks ago, in one breath, no revisions. I read it again now, my pulse steady. Not because it was cruel, because it was true. I closed the book and set it on my desk. Tomorrow, they would find out. But tonight, it was still mine. They didn't hear it from me. Of course they didn't. They never did. It started with my phone lighting up at 6:42 a.m. I was halfway through coffee when the screen buzzed again. And again. And again. Missed calls. Messages. Voicemails stacking so fast they blurred together. The first text I opened was from my brother. "Is this some kind of joke?" I didn't reply. The second was from my aunt. Why am I seeing your name all over Facebook? Still nothing. Then my mother called. I let it ring. Twice. 3 times. Finally, she left a voicemail. Alara, she said, breathless. Call me. Now. I opened my laptop instead. The book was trending locally. A photo from a bookstore in another city had gone semi-viral. My cover visible. My name tagged by someone I'd never met. That's how they found out. Not from pride. From exposure. By noon, the family group chat exploded. Why didn't you tell us? Is this real? How long has this been going on? People are tagging me. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say? That line stuck with me. I finally replied with a single sentence. You can say nothing. I did. My brother called immediately. Are you serious? He demanded the second I picked up. You let us find out like this? Like what? I asked. Publicly? This is humiliating, he snapped. I laughed. It slipped out before I could stop it. For who? For us, he said. People think we didn't support you. I leaned back in my chair. Did you? Silence. Then, why wouldn't you tell your own family? I stopped explaining, I said. You were there when I said that. You blindsided us, he accused. No, I corrected. I finished without you. He hung up. My mother showed up at my apartment an hour later. She didn't knock. She rang the bell like an emergency. When I opened the door, she was holding my book. Her hands were shaking. Why? She demanded, stepping inside. Why would you do this to us? To you? I repeated. Yes, she said. Do you know how this looks? I closed the door slowly. Tell me. She struggled. People are asking why we never mentioned it, why we didn't help, why we didn't celebrate. And what did you tell them? I asked. She hesitated. That you always quit? I offered. She flinched. My father called while she was standing there. I put him on speaker. Is it true? He asked. Is this book really yours? No, I said. It belongs to the readers now. That dedication, he continued. What was that about? My mother's eyes snapped to me. You read it? I asked. Someone sent me a photo, he said quietly. My aunt started texting while he spoke. That dedication was unnecessary. We always believed in you. I read it out loud to my mother, slowly. To everyone who taught me finishing doesn't require permission. Her face drained of color. That wasn't about us, she said quickly. I met her eyes. Who else taught me that? She looked away. My father's voice hardened. You made us look cruel. You did that yourselves, I said. I just stopped editing it. There was a knock at the door. My uncle. My cousin. Someone had posted my address. The living room filled with voices, overlapping, panicked. You should have told us. We could have helped. Family celebrates together. I raised my voice once. Then why did you only show up when it was finished? Silence fell like a dropped glass. No one answered. Because they all knew the truth. They didn't want to believe in me. They wanted credit for the ending. They sat there, scattered across my living room like they didn't know where to put themselves anymore. My uncle stood near the window, arms crossed, pretending he wasn't shaken. My cousin scrolled her phone too fast. My mother held the book in her lap like it might burn her. No one spoke. So I did. You all keep saying the same thing, I said. That I should have told you. My father exhaled slowly. Because we're your family. I nodded. Exactly. That confused them. My mother looked up. Then why shut us out? I reached for the book in her hands. She didn't resist when I took it. Because every time I let you in, I said, flipping to the dedication page, you used it against me. I placed the book on the coffee table, open. The words sat there between us. To everyone who taught me finishing doesn't require permission. My aunt laughed nervously. That's dramatic. Is it? I asked. My uncle scoffed. You're acting like we held you hostage. No, I said calmly. You just kept reminding me I wasn't allowed to arrive. My cousin finally looked up. We never said you couldn't succeed. You said I wouldn't, I replied. Over and over. My mother shook her head. That dedication makes it sound like we were obstacles. I leaned forward. You were. The word landed hard. My father stood. This is unfair. Unfair is being told for years that your ending doesn't count because no one clapped for the beginning, I said. He opened his mouth, then closed it. My aunt crossed her arms. So what is this? Punishment? I smiled slightly. It's documentation. My mother's voice cracked. Why couldn't you just forgive us? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I picked up the book again and turned a few pages, letting the sound fill the room. Forgiveness requires an apology, I said. I never got one. My brother stepped forward. We were trying to protect you. From what? I asked. Finishing? He looked at the floor. My father spoke quietly now. You embarrassed us. I met his eyes. You trained me to survive without your approval. This is what that looks like. My mother started crying. No one moved to comfort her. Not me. She wiped her face angrily. So what now? I closed the book. Now, I said. Nothing. They stared at me. No family announcement, I continued. No interviews. No public reconciliation. You don't get to rewrite this as support after the fact. My uncle shook his head. You're really willing to lose us over this? I walked to the door and opened it. You left years ago, I said. I just finished the sentence. One by one they stood. Some looked angry. Some looked ashamed. Most looked confused. As the door closed behind them, my apartment went quiet. Not empty. Quiet. I picked up the book from the table and placed it back on my desk. The dedication still open. Exactly where it belonged. After they left, the apartment didn't feel hollow. It felt sealed. Like a door had finally been closed properly instead of slammed and reopened 100 times. I stood there for a while, listening to the quiet settle into the walls, into my breathing. My phone buzzed once, then again. I didn't check it. The book kept moving without me watching it. Reviews appeared from strangers who didn't know my last name, didn't know my family history, didn't care whether I'd quit anything before this. They only cared that the story finished strong. That was new. A week later, my father sent a message. We need to talk. I read it. I didn't respond. My mother sent a longer one. Paragraphs, explanations, rewrites. We were hard on you because we believed in your potential. We didn't know you were this serious. Families make mistakes. I deleted it. My brother tried humor. Guess you showed us, huh? I blocked his number. People always expect a victory lap. They imagine a scene where I feel triumphant, vindicated, high on success and revenge. That's not what came. What came was distance, intentional, measured, clean. I went back to the bookstore a month later. Different location, different city, same table. My book wasn't alone anymore. Other names sat beside it. Other lives. Other battles no one at home had seen. A woman asked me to sign her copy. Who should I make it out to? I asked. She smiled. To me. I signed it without hesitation. On the train ride home, I thought about the version of myself who used to announce beginnings like apologies, who begged for patience, who tried to earn belief early so it wouldn't be withheld later. She felt far away. That night, I opened a new document. No outline sent to anyone. No explanation offered. No permission requested. Just a blinking cursor. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I let it ring. Some stories don't end with forgiveness. They end with access revoked. I typed the first sentence and didn't look back.